President Trump today, shortly before signing an executive order to roll back President Obama's efforts to combat climate change by gutting regulations designed to reduce carbon pollution. Joined now by Democratic Senator Ed Markey of Massachusetts, a member of the Senate Environment and Public Works Committee, longtime proponent of clean energy and environmental protection. Senator, you called it a declaration of war. What do you mean by that, and is it really that bad?
Yeah, it's a declaration of war. It's not an executive order. It basically looks at every one of President Obama's actions, and it tries to strip them off of the books. This is basically an attack on science, on climate, on the clean energy revolution, which has been creating hundreds of thousands of new jobs in our country because of Obama-era policies. And so, yeah, this is just another promise that he made to almost take a Luddite-like approach to new technologies. And so this is the battle. We're going to now basically deal with a guy who refuses to accept the reality that the planet is running a fever. There are no emergency rooms for planets, and we have to engage in preventative care to reduce the temperature before it causes catastrophic consequences, not just for the United States, but all across the planet. And today, he just basically said he's going to deny, he's going to defund. And for us, that means a disaster is now possible.
So it also seems that he's making promises. I read a really interesting interview with a coal executive who cautioned the president to perhaps bring expectations down on the coal job front, just because he was saying we're not going to get a bunch more new coal jobs. He's setting himself for a sense of betrayal in those places like McDowell County and other parts of coal country.
Ultimately, that coal executive is correct. In 2016, there were 14,000 new megawatts of solar. There were 8,000 new megawatts of wind. There were 8,000 new megawatts of natural gas, which has half of the greenhouse gases of coal. And how much new coal was there last year in America? Zero. How much new coal is going to be brought online this year in America? Zero. Wind, solar, and natural gas at half the pollutants of coal. That's the generation capacity of choice for energy executives. Basically, what's happening is that there is not a war on coal. There is a clean energy revolution that is taking place in our country, and it's a false promise to the coal miners.
So if that's the case, if that is the case, right, if there's already a lot of sunk costs, there's already a lot of investment capital driving that direction, there's utilities and others who are working on 10, 15, 20-year timescales, I guess the question is, you know, is the market going to take a signal from this that's really going to be deleterious, the development of renewable energy, or will it be able to plow past this kind of thing?
Well, that will depend upon whether or not he now turns to the solar tax breaks, to the wind tax breaks, to the kinds of, let's admit it, the private sector investment in companies like Tesla that were reliant upon the fuel economy standard going to 54.5 miles per gallon in the year 2025. He now says he's going to take a new look at that. The clean power rules that we're going to have a 32% reduction in greenhouse gases by the year 2030. He's now going to take those off the books. So if they look at the tax breaks, if they look at some of these other regulations that were driving innovation, then in fact, he could do some damage. But at the same time, as you pointed out, Chris, there's a longer-term trend here towards innovation that is going to be absolutely impossible for him to stop. And if we don't continue to pick up the pace, the Chinese will create the jobs in their country. The Indians will create the jobs in their country. The Germans will create the jobs in their country. And then the rest of the world will import the technologies from their countries rather than from our country. We invented the Internet era, the dot-com boom, the broadband revolution. We are the beneficiaries. We branded Google and eBay and Amazon and Hulu all across the planet. We're in danger of losing that branding of the United States as the renewable energy innovation capital of the planet.
All right, Senator Ed Markey, thanks for being with me tonight.